As you guys know, I really pride myself in educating you about Botox. And the real reason why is that there's so much miscommunication about what Botox is all about, and also my perception of what Botox should be like. A lot of people look at Botox as a quick fix. It's just a temporary gain. It's something just to look good for a party. And as you've seen in my other videos where I talk about Botox like exercise and Botox like a shirt, I ask you to review those. You can probably Google that on YouTube or on my website. You can read more about exactly what I mean by that. But I'm going to specifically talk about a new concept that actually deals with one of them, which is Botox like exercise. Let's briefly review that concept, and then I'm going to tell you how I'm going to branch out from that concept. What I mean when I talk about Botox like exercise is that if you do Botox infrequently, like once a year or inconsistently, it's almost like the same problem with exercise. When you do Botox when you exercise once a year, you don't really get long-term gains. You need to be on a consistent regimen of exercise so that over long term you get long-term gains. And long-term gains, I mean that even when the Botox is faded, there are no wrinkles, and the texture and tone looks so much better. So that's really what I mean by long-term gains with Botox. And that's really what I want you to understand is that if you're consistent with Botox and do a consistent regimen of Botox every 3 to 4 months, then you'll continue to get improvements over the long term, even when the Botox is actually faded. So I'm not going to get too much into that. I really ask you to review the section of Botox like exercise, but let's take that concept to the next level. Now this is almost funny, I'm going to start laughing saying this, but I think it's a funny idea, which is I look at myself like a Botox personal trainer. And what I mean by a Botox personal trainer is I'm here to work with you. Think of it what a personal trainer does. A personal trainer sits there, records what your settings were, how you improved from last time, what you need to do the next time, sets up the next appointment. And so that's exactly what I do with Botox. For example, it also helps because I book so far out in advance, but let's say you come in and do your Botox treatment, and I'm going to tell you on average Botox lasts about 90 days. And you say, well, Botox for me lasts 120 days. It lasts much longer. Well, I don't know that, and to be honest with you, I don't know if you know that. I need to take a look at you to make that determination. So usually what I do is I set you up at about a 90-day appointment, have you come back, take a look at it. An example today, I had a lady come in, and she said, look, hey doc, everything is holding really well. So I looked at each area, and each area was holding pretty well, and I actually gave her some options. So this is really what happens is, let's say I set you up for that 90-day appointment to come back. Well, first of all, why is it so important to set up that appointment? Well, a simple reason is you're going to forget, I'm going to forget. If I'm your personal trainer, I'm going to set you up for the next appointment so that we can get that regimen and try to stay consistent with it so we get long-term gains. So setting up that next appointment is going to help you not forget to come in that appointed time. So let's say you come back at 3 months, you set up that appointed time, I look at you, and there's several options. Option one, it's all faded. Well, at that point, we're going to definitely do another treatment. I'm going to put you back into a 3-month cycle and see you back in 3 months and see you again, because there's going to be changes over time. And that's what I want you to understand with Botox is we got to work together as a relationship and as looking at changes over time. We'll talk about that more in a moment. So let's say a second scenario. You come back to me, about 50% of your Botox is faded. I see a decent number of wrinkles, but not a lot. I see some movement. At that point, I'm going to encourage you to go ahead and get the treatment at 3 months, and I'm going to go ahead and push you to a 4-month cycle. So at 4 months, I'm going to see you back the next time, and then we'll make a determination. Was that too long or too short? Let's say in a third case scenario, I see you back at 3 months, and I'm looking at it, and you're really not even barely in a movement. Well, if you live far away or wherever it may be, I may just go and offer you to go get that treatment. The other option is just to come back in a month, and that's what I did for a lady today. She decided to come back in a month. We'll evaluate it 4 months where it is, and that way I can really make a determination. Let's say at 4 months she's holding 90%. Well, maybe she's a 5-month cycle person. And a lot of people say, well, I always do it every 6 months. Well, honestly, you don't have the experienced eyes to really say, is it lasting 6 months? I do. And so what I want to do is work with you on that regimen. And so let's take that idea to the next level. Let's say you're on a 3-month cycle, and all of a sudden I see you back now in the 4th round, and I see you on that 3-month cycle. You're holding really, really well. I mean, you're holding better than I've ever seen it. Well, at that point, I know that the Botox is decrease overall the muscle bulk. So it's almost the opposite of what a personal trainer out there does in real life for body fitness, which is to build your muscle, tone your muscle. I'm actually trying to create softening of the muscles. The muscles don't get so tight and tense. And over the long run, if I can do that, your muscles continue to weaken so that your dose will potentially and effectively, after about 6 months to a year and a half, actually start either decreasing the dose. In most cases, it's actually redistributing it. and increasing the interval time so you have longer times, and sometimes it goes to 4 and 5 months. The other thing a personal trainer does is write down all your muscles and say, look, here's a muscle that's improving, that one needs more work on. And because everything that I do with Botox is so meticulously recorded, I can take a look at the areas of your face, and oftentimes what I see is that the areas I've treated stay really well, and you start getting a few more wrinkles in other areas that either weren't there or they're more pronounced, because there's areas that I need to now change my Botox, sometimes even increase the dose to capture other wrinkles. And so that's really what a Botox relationship's about, is really getting that regimen to continue to improve and looking over those slight adjustments over the long term. Now, how's that opposed to other places? Other places, there's no recording of what you did. They don't even know what you had last time. They don't have any of the lot numbers that they injected with. They don't know, when you came in. Another injector comes in, and you go to 4 different places. So a lot of times when people dance around and go to other places, the real reason is they're not getting good service and getting good experience or getting good results. But the key is, first of all, to capture you by giving you a good experience, giving you good results, and also giving you that relationship that may be absent in most places, to stand behind my work. What if you came back in at a month? Would I touch it up for free? Well, I did one today. I even did one today at 2 months because I just thought it wasn't good enough for the hold. That's pretty rare. But it's so important that you really think about Botox like a relationship, and really to have someone as your personal trainer, if you will, permit that sort of ludicrous idea, but in my opinion it really isn't. It's meant to have you understand that my goal is to work with you over the next few years to really shut things down. I'll give you actually one more example. I actually had a 26-year-old lady that I was working on with Botox. Now, why would I do someone that young? Well, she was a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader. She had a lot of sun damage accumulated. A lot of the collagen already started to fragment because of the sun damage. I put her through a 4-cycle treatment, and I was already predicting, given her age bracket, that her collagen would heal faster. So within a year, after a year, she said the Botox was a little bit pricey. She didn't want to continue. I said, you know what? I actually give you my blessing to stop for maybe 6 months to a year and a half, and we'll just reevaluate because I've healed so much of the collagen, so long as you're not continuing to damage it. So another example of how sort of upfront treatment and really understanding the eye that I have is based on good judgment and also integrity.